Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Red Room, and today we're looking at the Nikon F801s. Now this camera was my first professional 35mm camera, which I purchased in 1992, I think it was, 1992. Now the thing about the F801s, it was a real evolution because you had the Nikon F8, which brought in matrix metering, and you had program shutter priority, aperture priority, and manual, the PSAM modes. But then the autofocus, obviously the Nikon F8 was a manual focus camera, and the Nikon F801s was a autofocus camera. Now there was a Nikon F501 which brought in autofocus, but the 801s the 801 was a sort of an early autofocus camera, but the 801s evolved the autofocus and it became a better camera. And this model it has a data back. So if I show you on the camera, so here's the 801s, and it's a particularly lovely model I picked up. It's in excellent condition, and it has a AF Nikkor 35 to 70 zoom lens, which is a very neat little lens, nice focal range, and decent autofocus on it. And there's the F801s logo, and you had single autofocus, continuous autofocus, and manual here switch. And you open the back there. This one has a data back, but the data back sort of I think it goes to about 2006, this data back, and then doesn't do anything. But you can actually have a sequential hours data back on it. And then automatic exposure lock, lovely viewfinder. The viewfinder on the F801s was really nice viewfinder. It was a lovely body to hold. It was a really nice camera. And then you had the on-off switch here, and then you had on the dial here you had program, and if I show you in a bit more detail, you have program depth, and then program high, so high shutter speed and wider aperture. Then program was a sort of general combination of best shutter speed and best aperture. Program depth gave you the smallest aperture without going below 60th or 30th or 60th of a second. Then you had shutter priority, aperture priority, and manual. And then the dial showed exposure meter reading and manual, and your f-stop, which you controlled on the aperture dial there. And you'd lock it down to be in program mode at f22. You had a exposure compensation button, and then the film rewind buttons were this button here and this button here. And then you had your ISO, but this was a DX coded camera, so you had you dropped the film in with DX coding and it just read the coding. And then you had a drive button which gave you single, continuous low, continuous high, and back to single again. So really nice camera, very straightforward to use, robust, very good camera. It lasted me, gosh, I must have had mine for about 10 years, I'd have thought. And then I also had it along with an FM2. I had an FM2, which is totally mechanical. Lovely cameras. And you loaded the film very straightforwardly. It's very easy. So if I just show you on the camera again. So you opened the back here, and you had a red little square which is there. And what you do, you take your film, and there's the contacts for the DX coding, and the DX coding is that sort of, as you can see, it's like a barcode on the back of the camera. And this is Portra 160 I'm using here. So you just drop the film in, and you just drag it along to the red box, which was there. You close the back, switch it on, and then it would wind on to one. And then you get film status here, telling you where you are, and shutter count. So incredibly straightforward camera to use, and it was very quick and reliable, and it was good with sports as well, because when I was at a studio back in, I was working in a studio from sort of 87, 88 through to 91, and so it was the late 80s, early 90s. You had this recession, and the economy wasn't good. And the studio I was at said, "Look, you can do some freelance work if you want to do it." And they put me in touch with the Sports Council, and which was great. And the Sports Council gave me work on the weekends, and that was great. And I bought a Nikon F801s, and it's fantastic for sports work, and it was great for presentations. And I also had I think an SB800 flash, which again was fantastic. Actually, I might have been a Mets flash. Right? There was one of the first flashes I used, but which would have then gone into the PC socket, and the PC socket is there on the F801s. But yeah, it served me very well. And then I eventually went on my own in late 1991, and then carried on shooting for the Sports Council. And yeah, it was a great time, really fun to do. So I thought today what we would do, we'd stay in Cardiff, and we'd pop out and have a look at the National Stadium in Cardiff, the Principality Stadium. It's a fantastic stadium, world class, and we're quite proud of it in Wales. So yeah, we'll go on the bike, and any opportunity to get on the bike, and we'll go and have a look and see what shots we can get. I'm actually going to shoot on Kentmere 400 black and white, which is a film I use a lot. I've actually got it in bulk loaded in a bulk film holder. So yeah, so we'll shoot some Kentmere 400 black and white, and we'll do have a look around the stadium in Cardiff. Okay, let's go. So today I've stayed local, and I've just taken a short trip to the iconic, and I think most probably one of the best stadiums in the world because it's got a closed roof, Principality Stadium in Cardiff. And I thought we'd, as we've been reviewing cameras, I thought we'd get onto some autofocus, something a bit modern. And we'd review the Nikon F801s. Now this F801s is what I use professionally through the 90s, I suppose. It's a great camera, so straightforward to use, great metering, good autofocus, single point in the center, and is a real joy to use. And this particular model I picked up, and they're so cheap, it's ridiculous. I picked up this Nikon F801s, and it was basically, I had it for, I think I got it for £56 for the body. And then I got this very nice AF Nikkor 35-70 lens. I think I picked that up for 36 quid. So really fantastic piece of kit, multi-segment metering, very great. So what we'll do is we'll take some shots of the stadium. Another fantastic day here. It's such a great spell of weather at the moment. How long it'll last, I do not know. So there may be some studio-based things coming up very soon. But in the meantime, we're going to get out on the bike and we're going to get to this beautiful environment and shoot some lovely locations. So, without further ado, let's get shooting. So this weather continues, and we had a great day, and it was beautiful blue skies. And what interested me about the sort of shots today, as you can see in the slideshow, is the architecture in Cardiff. You've got this architecture which is 80, 90 years old, juxtaposed to modern architecture with the stadium, and I think it looks quite impressive. The results from the F801s and this little Nikon 35-70 I thought were excellent. There's really sharp images, nice contrast, and it looks really good. And it's just so quick and easy to use, and you get these reliable exposures every time. You just can't go wrong. The exposures are spot on with the matrix metering. The F801s actually had spot metering, which was the evolution of the F801. That's one of the things they did develop. They, as well as making the autofocus much, much better, they put spot metering into here as well, which is a really nice feature if you want to do the zone system, and which I'm sure is something we'll talk about in episodes to come. But the matrix metering on this was incredibly reliable, and a lot of the work I used to do in the 90s and the early 2000s, well, to be honest, the majority of the work I did was actually on transparency film, E6 slide film. And obviously you had to get your exposures smack on. There was nowhere to go. And this was a great reliable camera to do that with, and yielded fantastic results on transparency film. So yeah, I thought today's location was interesting. Some nice bits and pieces, and you can actually walk around the stadium completely. You've got the River Taff running alongside the stadium, and on a Sunday is when I shot these. You've got a Taff embankment market, which is some of the shots you saw. So those tents, and there's a little market along there which has the stadium as a backdrop. So it's all quite impressive. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode on the Nikon F801s. I certainly enjoyed doing it. It's a particularly lovely camera. And on episodes to come, we're going to go larger format. I've just taken a Mamiya RZ2 Pro S, and which is in beautiful condition. So I thought we'd do some shots on that as well coming up, and have a look at the it's a really, really lovely professional 6.7 camera, quite different to the Bronica GS1 I reviewed a few months ago, but very, very lovely camera. So I hope you have a good week ahead, and I shall look forward to seeing you again soon. And in the meantime, take care and look after yourselves. Bye for now.